Hi, everyone. I'm Rosemarie Miller here with John Hyatt, a senior wealth reporter here at Forbes, here to tell us about Binance, Changpeng Zhao, and what this plea deal means for the crypto industry. Thank you so much for joining me today, John.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, John, what does all this mean? I mean, the public perception has certainly changed around CZ. What is it looking like now?
Yeah, in some ways, this plea deal that CZ has struck is the culmination of sort of years worth of news. There have been many reports of a DOJ investigation of CZ for the last year or two. Earlier this year, the SEC sued CZ and Binance, which was followed by a lawsuit by the Commodities Futures and Trading Commission. So there's been a lot of U.S. pressure on CZ, and CZ's been living in Dubai, and there have been reports that he was, working with lawyers who were in talks with prosecutors in the U.S. But this is a profound moment for Binance and for the crypto industry.
How will this affect Binance?
So Binance is going to be subject to U.S. government regulation, essentially. Not just regulation, but there's going to be an independent compliance monitor.
And let me stop you right there. For clarity, are we talking about Binance or Binance US or all of it?
So we're talking about all of it.
Okay.
Binance, the international company, is going to be, which is the predominant business. Binance US has really been lagging ever since it ran into the tremendous regulatory hurdles here in the US, allowing regulated entities like Coinbase to capture U.S. market share. But in the case of Binance International, its main business, as part of the plea deal, an independent compliance monitor is being installed who is going to be surveying all of Binance's business activities, making sure that it's not engaged in the sort of money laundering or other financial crimes that it has been alleged to have partaken in. And that independent compliance monitor is going to be reporting to U.S. authorities. So essentially a company that once answered to no one is now going to be under the very strict scrutiny of the U.S. government. It's huge. Binance has been the biggest crypto exchange for years now. It still is. And the fact that the largest crypto exchange is now being closely monitored by the U.S. government and just struck a deal worth over $4 billion to plead guilty to money laundering charges. It changes the perception of the industry for sure, but it will also probably change dynamics within the industry, which exchanges are going to be winning business and which are going to be able to usurp market share from Binance.
I'm curious about that. You mentioned market share. So how will this compliance monitor, how will that affect the revenue and the market share of Binance in the crypto industry?
I think Binance would say we have a strong business with legitimate customers that have done KYC, that have done AML, who are institutions and individuals who are legally trading crypto assets on Binance. At the same time, what Binance admits to in its plea deal and what it has been alleged in other government lawsuits against it is that some of its revenue has been made through illicit means, whether it's financing Hamas or other sanctioned groups in Iran, and the extent to which those sources of money making will no longer be available to Binance under this independent compliance monitor, that will bite into its revenue. I think, though, the bigger impact on Binance will be whether individuals and institutions that use Binance legitimately for trading crypto assets, whether they say, wait a minute, we got into crypto because we don't like government interference. We like free market activity. We don't want to be an appendage of U.S. prosecutors. Will those customers go to rival exchanges, places like Upbit? They're a South Korean exchange that has been growing in recent years. Will other companies go to Coinbase, which is trying to grow abroad while also maintaining its market share in the U.S.? So it's going to be interesting to see.
I mean, how can we be certain that companies like Upbit won't suffer the same issues that we've seen Binance and Gemini and other companies face?
It's a good question. I think what companies like Upbit have going for them at the moment is bigger than themselves, in that there is a returning crypto bull market over the last couple of months. More cash is flowing into crypto assets. Just within the past 6 months or so, there's been some $600 billion that have flown into crypto assets. And this is an industry where everyone kind of rides together, right? When Bitcoin is doing well, other crypto assets tend to do well. When crypto assets are doing well, the exchanges are doing well, because that means more people are trading, more people are buying, they're collecting more fees, more people are placing bets in derivatives markets, more people are starting NFTs or other projects. So companies like Upbit, like Coinbase, they stand to benefit from this bull market activity. They also stand potentially to benefit from growing skepticism of Binance. But at the same time, Binance is still the largest crypto exchange by volume. So I think what Binance and its new CEO, they're trying to make the case, look, we're established, we have infrastructure, we are a legitimate institution, and yes, we've made some mistakes. We've apologized for those mistakes. We've struck a deal with the main financial cop in the world, the US government, and we're moving on.
And CZ, he's able to keep his majority stake in Binance, right? How will that affect the operations of the exchange?
So we estimate that CZ has a 90% stake in Binance's main business. He's prevented from having any role with the company for the next 3 years as part of his plea deal that he struck. So it kind of creates a strange situation for the near term, in which Binance's CEO and C-suite, they will be trying to grow Binance's business. They'll be trying to keep customers. They'll be working with the independent compliance monitor to ensure that their AML and KYC standards are high and meet the scrutiny of the U.S. government. But at the same time, the ultimate sort of beneficiary won't have any role in the company or its direction, which creates a sort of strange mismatch between principals and agents. I think the ultimate question really is, will CZ ever return to Binance? If he's only prevented from playing an operational role for the next 3 years, will he try to come back as CEO? Will he install himself as CEO? It's going to be interesting to see.
And isn't it kind of a good thing that cloud of uncertainty is gone that's been hovering over Binance for the past few months? Isn't that a good thing? Like, give me some positive effects of this plea deal.
It certainly has brought some legitimacy, perhaps, to Binance that it was lacking. Binance has become the biggest crypto exchange in the world by evading regulation. They're a company that famously never had a headquarters anywhere. CZ and a small team of his close associates and deputies have been hopscotching around the world as regulators have chased them out of their countries. Now, you have a company like Binance striking a deal with the U.S. government, and presumably that's going to, as you say, remove the cloud a bit over their head. And I think ultimately, the big thing, and this is something that CZ emphasized on Twitter, is that CZ and Binance pled guilty to money laundering charges, which are serious crimes, but they did not admit or plead guilty to commingling customer funds with money that Binance has. And so that was a big thing that brought down FTX a year ago. Created a bank run. Lots of people lost lots of money. Sam Bankman-Fried was recently found guilty on several felony charges related to wire fraud and money laundering. But CZ and Binance didn't do that. So, there's been a lot of speculation leading up to this that Binance was commingling assets, that it didn't have all of its customer funds. But, the fact that they haven't had to, or the fact that they, in fact, maybe were not doing commingling, or at least were not to the extent that it impacted the business, I mean, that's good for Binance customers because it means they have their money, and it could be good for Binance in the long term, reputationally.
And finally, John, you mentioned Sam Bankman-Fried, and these are all kind of interesting characters in this crypto space. So CZ, he's kind of brash, but he was also brilliant at the same time, and that contributed to the growth of his company, but simultaneously contributed to a lot of the scrutiny he got. Could you just talk about that for a little bit?
Absolutely. CZ has been sort of a figurehead for the industry for years. From the time he started Binance in 2017, grew it rapidly into the largest global exchange. And, Bankman-Fried only joined CZ as sort of a industry icon in 2020, 2021, as FTX came onto the scene. And those two people were essentially the avatars of crypto. You had Sam in the US and you had CZ abroad. And, with the fall of Sam, it kind of just left CZ. And I think, a lot of industry spectators were wondering if CZ was going to follow the same path as Sam with his company blowing up. And, while he's taken a hit with these money laundering charges, it's also a win in a sense for CZ. It allows him to, he could face some jail time. He faces up to 10 years. I think a lot of people think he'll get a lot less than that, if any. But ultimately, CZ walks away with his company still and potentially with the ability to run it in the future. So, yes, CZ was a figurehead in crypto. He's not now, but he could be again.
Thank you so much for joining me today.